Welcome to the show radio. And now, here is your host, Andrew Alliance.
Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for downloading episode 325 of the show radio. I'm your host, Andrew, and this is your source for tech, gaming, and entertainment news. Head over to theshowradio.info. Once again, that's theshowradio.info for my past shows. And while you're there, subscribe and tell a friend about the show. That's really appreciated. The show is on iTunes, Android, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, now YouTube, and Google Play. So I don't want to talk, you know what? I definitely want to talk about YouTube right now. I was going to mention it later, but I want to talk about it now. So YouTube, please don't be so quick to dislike the video/audio podcast that I'm actually delivering on YouTube now. I definitely want to give you that content. And I know that the interview is going to be at a later, timestamp in this actual episode because this is a podcast first before I actually post it on YouTube. So definitely consider, listening, sharing, as far as the tech information and news I'm going to have at the front, and also some video gaming news that leads into the actual interview that I had with Max Wu, which is the founder of Vinci. So that's really the format for the podcast listeners, and I know they enjoy that. For the YouTube listeners, I know it's a different kind of format, so please bear with me as you, get familiar with me and as I post more content on YouTube for you guys to listen, and I hope you enjoy it. So that's pretty much what's going on there. So the show is on iTunes, Android, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and Google Play, and definitely check out theshowradio.info for past episodes and content and links and things like that. So this particular episode 325. I'm going to be talking with Max Wu, founder of Vinci. It is an absolutely amazing smart headphone, and definitely we'll have conversation about that, its tech and features and things like that. So looking forward to doing that. And also the news, life hacks, and entertainment news, as well as video game news. Very, very light since we're in the week of Thanksgiving or the week of that particular holiday celebration where you sit and eat a lot, with your family and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to, having this interview, posted. I'm excited. So it was a great conversation. So a couple of things first. Definitely want to talk about my sponsors. This podcast is brought to you by ProXPN. ProXPN is a VPN service that secures your internet connection against eavesdropping, hides your location, and allows you to access your favorite sites no matter where you live or travel to. With it, no one can see the websites you visit or track your online activity. Check out theshowradio.info/ProXPN. Once again, that's theshowradio.info/ProXPN and use the promo code SHORAM for 20% off of the lifetime of your account. This podcast is also brought to you by Audible.com. Audible has over 180,000 plus audiobooks to choose from. Get your first audiobook free with a 30-day trial. Check out theshowradio.info/audiobook. Once again, that's theshowradio.info/audiobook for your 30-day trial. So a couple of things in the news that I did see, life hacks and entertainment news. 5 of the best education search engines for academic research. I'm going to post that in the show notes. The show notes will be at theshowradio.info/325, theshowradio.info/325. So Oxford University will offer free online courses in 2017. Microsoft, now this was interesting to me, Microsoft has joined the Linux Foundation. Go figure. I'll have links for that in the show notes. Chromie Tweet, if you like to tweet everywhere on the web, now you want to tweet on your URL bar, address bar, that kind of thing. Chromie Tweet lets you tweet from your Chrome's address bar, so I'm going to have a link for that in the show notes. And the Xbox is on in the background. I don't know if you heard that or not. WhatsApp gets 2-step authentication in beta. Photoshop Fix comes to Android devices. Instagram is doing big things as well. Announces live video on Instagram stories and disappearing photos and videos for groups and friends in Instagram Direct. Definitely check that out. 4K started rolling out in Play Movies. And Mortal Kombat film Reboot has found its director in Simon McQuad. I think that's how you say that particular name. Game of Thrones, which I am so far behind in. Creator George I'm going to leave all this stuff in. George R.R. Martin teased the possibility of a prequel series to HBO's award-winning fantasy drama. So I'm just going to say something right now. So what I noticed in the last couple of episodes is there's a lot of little quirks and errors and speech things that I'm leaving in the actual show to show that not necessarily everything that I say or do in the actual podcast is post-production, fixed or cured or whatever you want to call that stuff. So I kind of leave it in a little bit. I think it leaves a lot of personality to the actual show. because a lot of stuff that I do, whether it's podcasting or even the video stuff that I'm trying to really get into, and I know video is something that not necessarily I should do, is video I need to do. I think that's where I am with it right now. So some of the things I'm leaving in there, and I think it adds personality to the actual podcast, that not everything is rehearsed and purely scripted as I do this stuff. So I'm thinking this out loud, and that's what's going on there. So Game of Thrones, I'm behind, but they're definitely teasing the possibility of a prequel series to HBO's award-winning fantasy drama, which is really good if you've never checked out Game of Thrones. If you like fantasy drama and you're not watching Game of Thrones, I don't know. I guess you just need to do that. Okay, so what else do we have going on? So TuneIn Radio adds offline listening for podcasts. Qualcomm announces Snapdragon 835 and Quick Charge 4 compatible with USB power delivery. And then OnePlus recently did their 3T launch. OnePlus community app now available in the Play Store. Also the 3T I definitely want to talk about before I actually move on to the gaming news. So let me do that right now. I'm actually opening it right now. And as it opens, I'll tell you what I did see. The launch was very interesting, and I'll just leave it at that. But the actual phone itself, Snapdragon 821 processor there, 6 gigs of RAM. The storage will be 64 gigs or 128 gigs. The display is 5.5 inches, 1080p AMOLED display. The battery is 3,400 milliamps with dash charge, and I hear that's pretty dope. 60 megapixel for the front and the rear. Camera is going to be Android 6.0.1 with the updated Oxygen OS, and it looks really, really dope. I'm going to have a link for that information in the show notes as well. And that's all I have for life hacks and entertainment news. Next thing I did see was the video game news. Couple of things, very, very light. Canadian Toys R Us may have released the base price of the upcoming Nintendo Switch prematurely. I think they had $329 for Canada, roughly £200 for UK, $250 US, and they had $330 for AUD. I think that's Australian dollars. The listing has since been removed, so definitely, I guess, search around the internet for that kind of a thing. The Legend of Zelda is being turned into a live-action escape game in North America. Nintendo has launched Swapdoodle, which is a new messaging app for 3DS. The 5 top Ubisoft executives are in hot water over claims of insider trading. I'm going to have a link for that in the show notes. And then The Last Guardian currently is scheduled to be released on December 6th. There was a recent CG cinematic-style action trailer for The Last Guardian featuring Trico, the boy, and suits of armor. And December 6th is currently the release date. Maybe they will keep it there and not necessarily move it or delay it for another couple of months. So that's what's going on there. And a couple of other things before we actually go into the interview. Respawn co-founder Vince Zampella says the studio is currently unsure as to whether or not they will be releasing a Titanfall 3. Now, Titanfall 2 did very, very well as far as reviews are concerned from what I did see on the internet. But as far as sales, I'm not sure it did as what they thought they wanted to do with the sales, but I guess that's still to be determined. So Titanfall 3 may not be something that we're going to be seeing right away if they actually release it or not. We'll see in the near future. Okay, so last but not least, I definitely got to show, I guess we have to show a lot of respect to Hideo Kojima. I know when they did the Game Awards last year, Jeff Keighley wanted to honor Hideo Kojima at the Game Awards, but he could not properly do that because they banned him from traveling, the lawyers, when he was with Konami. They banned him from traveling. So this year, Jeff Keighley is going to honor him at the Game Awards, and I think that airs in December. So definitely look for that. He's going to properly do that now that he can travel and he's doing his new game and all the stuff. And he's since been removed from Konami and doing his own thing. Partnered, I think, very closely with Sony. From what I understand, that should be very, very cool. So that's pretty much all I have there. I'm definitely excited about the Game Awards and watching Hideo Kojima receive his due honor. You know, that's definitely going to be exciting stuff. So coming up, the interview I did with Max Wu. Max Wu, definitely shout outs to him. Thank you so much. And also thank you for letting me check out the Vinci Smart Hearable headsets. So I have them now in the studio. They're really, really cool. So Max Wu is the founder of Vinci, the world's first 3D headphones that understands you. And here's the interview right now. Now I have Max Wu. Max Wu is the founder of Vinci, the smart headphone that is absolutely amazing. It is the world's first intelligent 3D headphones that understands you. Max, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Andrew, for having me tonight.
Yeah, of course, man. So talk about the problems that you wanted to solve with this particular headset, as you were preparing to have it come to market.
Sure, sure. So I think the problem we saw is when we saw, like, because we're runners, we love music as well, and we saw other people running or jogging with a 5-inch screen on their armband, and so here's like what gets me, because we don't think that's the right way to listen to music, and we really want to simplify how we listen to music today. So we designed the Vinci Smart Headphone to be super easy to use, and all you need to do is just put it on. And because we designed this proximity sensors, it knows when you put it on, and so it starts playing music automatically the moment you put it on. And we use a touch interface. We designed a touch interface to allow you to skip songs, adjust the volume, and even do voice control just right here on your head. And so we hope it's super easy to use, and from our early users, and we have got some really positive feedback say this is probably like the easiest headphone they have ever used.
Pretty cool. So voice and touch control, body and activity sensors, completely standalone from a smartphone actually.
Right.
So talk about some of the voice controlled mobile assistant. I guess talk a little bit about that. Expand on that a little bit.
Yeah, I think an easiest way to I think the easy analog to that is really to look at the Echo, the wireless speaker from Amazon. I think because 2 years ago there's no Echo on the market, and I think it's easy to do the kind of analogy to Echo is because we think Echo is really the voice is a voice robot that you can talk to in your living room, and what we're doing here at the Vinci Smart Headphone is actually the voice robot you can talk to wherever you like. It's a robot that you carry with you all day long. And of course, in the day one, we wanted to focus on the music because in the music experience that we care about the most. So we provided music services, and it's super easy to use, but it's definitely more than just music. It's weather, it's calculation, it's Wikipedia, it's all this, it's Uber. It's all these internet services that's combined, and it's very handy. It's right on your head. It's right on your headphone. So we want to bring that services very personal, because I think we need more than just the robot that just sitting in your living room. We want a robot that you can carry with you all the time. So that's something we really care deeply about. But again, music is what's happening day one. But there's definitely more coming. It's more than the music. It's literally a voice control assistant that you carry along all day long.
That's very cool. So that really falls into the user interaction with the actual headset. So I guess you just give some examples of what you can ask, Vinci whether you're jogging or that kind of a thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's a fantastic question. We love the way people interact with the headphones. So we design in a way. For example, you can just say play Michael Jackson, or you can say play Michael Jackson's Thriller. And so you can say something very specific, or you can say something very ambiguous or very general. You can say play country music. I want to listen to blues. I'm a little down today, and I want to listen something to cheer me up. So it will all understand you and really try to fit you into some kind of scenario and recommend songs based on that information, whatever information you give to the headphone. And of course, there's more than music, of course, and you can ask weather, say how's the weather like in New York tomorrow. You can ask a question about math, say what is the power of 10 of 2. And yeah, you can try, there's a lot more interesting and exciting features coming along. We are trying to upgrade, we're pushing out the software upgrades every month. So we expect a lot of exciting features that our users might give us feedback, say what they want, and we're definitely also building that features into the headphone so that we can really give our users some of the really exciting features, exciting answers to their questions.
Very cool. I definitely want to highlight the specs because I want to make sure that anything that is involved with this headset I want to mention. So 3G, Wi-Fi, cloud music services, local storage, and smart Bluetooth. So where does the 3G and Wi-Fi fit in? I know you already mentioned about the music services. I'm assuming that's going to be Spotify, SoundCloud, and those kind of services that we love dearly. Local storage, I guess what size we're looking at, and then definitely talk about the smart Bluetooth.
We love music, so we have a lot of collection of music. So we think that 16 gigabytes is the minimum that we need for music. So that's why we provide 16 gigabytes for the standard version. For the Pro version, we offer for actually extra $50, you get 32 gigabytes of storage, and for the Pro, So we believe that one can actually download all their music library on the headphone and not worry about eating up the storage on the smartphone anymore.
Very cool. Very cool. Now, I know I was thinking about it as you were talking. You mentioned 16 gigs, 32 gigs. Did you guys ever consider an option to do a micro SD slot as you were developing the actual headset, or is that even an option that you're considering in future?
It's an option. This is something because our hardware currently supports up to 32 gigabytes at a maximum storage, but it's definitely something we are working on for in the future to allow maybe like a expansion slot for the user. You can put in your own SD card or anything. But for now, our hardware supports up to 32 gigabytes at a maximum.
Very cool, very cool. So the OS is Android, right?
Correct.
It's a highly customizable Android. Is there an Android number that we should know? Is it 5.0, 6.0, or?
The design philosophy is that because we want it to be used as a headphone, so you wouldn't even recognize it's Android devices. But yes, technically it's based on Android 4.4. It's highly customized, as you can see. So when you turn it on, you will not recognize the Android device because we changed the whole UI to serve the purpose of providing music. And for example, there's no camera, for example. There's a lot of features that consumes power but really doesn't add value to making a better headphone. So basically we cut them off, and we cut these features off for power consumption, to save the power consumption, to cut down the loading speed, for example, to really make it run faster and smoother. And yes, we did a lot of work in customizing the Android. Basically, you wouldn't recognize it's Android when you saw it.
So it's very lean. What about SDK options in the future, things like that? Or are you considering those options for the individuals who want to add to the experience?
Yes, I think the SDK is a very exciting idea, and we're definitely actively exploring that option because it's Android. Android is we love open community, we love open platform, so we like to stay open as well. What we're trying to do is so we are announcing our plans to have our SDK, so allow the third party or our developers, our community, to really come up with interesting ideas how we can best use the sensors, the heart rate you can measure from your headphone, and the speed, and also the sound, the ambient noise sound, and the users. So we really want our community to come up with an interesting, exciting idea to really contribute and add more values to what we can get from the headphone.
Very cool. While you did mention it, talk about the tempo change of music depending on what you're doing, jogging, walking, that kind of a thing. Correct.
So that's a very interesting idea because on the day one, we have been very active thinking how we can improve the music experiences. And because we don't want a user to actively switching songs or choose songs when they are jogging, when they're running. So we want it to be a very dynamic experiences. So basically we recommend songs based on users' running speed, based on users' heart rate. So we recommend songs based on the real-time body data. So we think that's really the best way to adjust the songs we're playing, adjust the playlist, and to match the user's status. I think that's what really user want and is mostly fitted. But of course, you don't have to use the feature. If you have your own workout playlist, you can also work with your own playlist as well.
Very cool. Okay, so now I never want to drop this headset. Okay, I never want to drop this headset.
Right.
In the event that does happen, talk about the strength and the sturdiness of the actual glass that's built into the actual headset.
Oh, that's a great question as well, because we, sometimes people drop things, right? It happens. So we did a lot of testing. For example, the stretching test and the bending test, and we So our standard is to pass the 20,000 of cycles of the stretching for the headband. So our headband is made of very strong nylon materials that's strengthened by glass fibers, and it's a very well-known industrial materials that basically it never breaks. So the headband itself, it never breaks. And regarding the glass, we're also conducting the standard drop test, which it's a standard test for all the smartphones that you use on the market today. So we did a drop test, and we passed the test. I think it's about 10 times of the cycling test. Yeah, so everything we do, and then we're passing the standard testing for drop test, stretching test, but also the FCC test, which is the Federal Communication Commission. So we pass that radio. Basically, it measures how safe it is to be used. For example, because it does have 3G, that has Wi-Fi, right? There's the radio frequency signals and everything. So we pass the FCC test as well. So because we value the safety of our users, so that's why we put this all test, have them test completely 100% before we ship the final products.
Very cool. Okay, so talk about the playback, the 3D playback, and the active head tracking built into the technology in the headset.
Yeah, it's a very interesting idea, because when we first came out with the idea, it's actually when we saw the VR sets becomes more and more popular, and we're thinking of how we can make this technology, make it future proof, because we know that we're going to have a lot of headsets or VR headsets that's going to track your head, and also the environment or what you hear actually interacts with your bodies. And that's something we think is really cool. It's just really something interesting. It's future proof, because we want to work with for example, VR content that's going to coming up in the next few years. It's going to be lots of VR contents. So we want our user to be able to use the headsets as a way to interact with the content, whether it's the visual or whether it's just audios. And we want our user to be able to interact with it. That's why we put in the head tracking there. And basically it knows what is your orientation, which way you're facing to, and then your audio, what you're going to hear, is going to change, because it allows you to do like a fixation of the sound source in a virtual space. In that way, we found it's a very interesting concept, and also that allow our developers to create something very interesting, very cool, to really take advantage of that capability to allow you to track your head, track your body. I think there's something really cool, interesting can be done based on that.
Very cool. So as far as the smart noise cancellation technology, is that always active, or is there an option? I guess definitely touch on that for a little bit.
Yeah, that's an option for the Pro version. First of all, we believe that the active noise cancelling has been proved very useful, has been proved very valuable for people traveling a lot by the airplane or by the subway, because it really cancels out majority of your noise, the ambient noise, and it really gives a very clean, very quiet environment when you put a headphone on. That's what the active noise cancelling does. But we also found the problem that because the ambient noise also changes, because the noise you're going to have on the airplane is very different from what you hear on the subway, because the frequency range you hear from the engine of the airplane is very different from the noise from the train. So we want to build this into the headphone that it knows where you are. It knows where the ambient noise sits, and so it cancels out. It does its best job in terms of filtering out the ambient noise, regardless whether it's subway or it's on an airplane. Or sometimes you're at a construction site. You have this white noise, background noise on a construction site. So we take into consideration of all these different scenarios. That's why we call it smart noise cancellation, because you're able to choose a different scenario. It cancels out the noise for that particular scenario and does its best job just for filter out the noise. Very
cool. So, and as far as customizing the actual headset in terms of personalizing it with words and different things like that, what are the options to do that? And is there an app available also for Vinci?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a very interesting idea to allow people to really customize what people are going to see on the screen because we have a screen on the headphone. And so far, I think you have seen the demo that we can put any texts on the headphone, and we think that's very cool. In the future, we are adding more features like allowing users to change to their like photos. They can push a photo, or they can push a video or animation, or maybe just smiley face, or maybe push on their heart rate on the screen. I think there's a lot of space for innovation to what to show on the screen, and we're definitely open. So we're definitely open to like users' ideas to allow our developers to create contents for that. So when it ships, I think we're definitely focusing more on the music side and focusing more on the self-expression for expressing your mood or what your songs you're listening to. But I think there's definitely more than that. The space for innovation is definitely huge out there.
Okay, so I just thought of another question as we're talking. So what is the soundstage that this headset, is or resembles with the other products on the market?
Yeah, that's a great question because people buy the headphone, right? It's for music, and we love Sennheiser, and I use Sennheiser a lot before we start the project. So we really look up upon the Sennheiser Momentum. We believe it offers a really balanced frequency range, and it's not too heavy in the bass, but it has enough bass. So I think that's what we want our users want to, because we want it to be a little more balanced, but also a little bit more bass just to tailor to the younger generation. Because we listen to pop or listen to pop music a lot. So yeah, I think, but it's something that is customizable as well. So user can have their own EQ. You can adjust their own dynamic range, and so yeah, I think when it ships, we're just gonna have one style, but we let users to choose their own style for that as well. Mm-hmm.
Very cool. So you mentioned style, and of course, I'm thinking out loud as we have this conversation because I don't want to miss anything. So the finish on the actual headset, from what I remember, was glossy when I did see it. Okay.
Correct.
Are you guys considering like a matte finish in future iterations of the actual headset? Not necessarily an option, or is that even on the table right now?
Actually, the newer version that's coming with 1.5, it's actually going to have matte surface finish for the four corners, black, white, red, and silver. And all of them are going to have matte finish for the standard version. And for the Pro version, we are putting gloss. And it's going to be glossy, it's going to be shiny. Because we really wanted to, differentiate the top version, the Pro version, from the standard version. And so far that's what we have. That's what we got, and we're also adding more colors to the Pro version on Kickstarter pretty soon.
Very cool. So battery life, battery size, and playback time. Now, because there's so much tech on this particular headset, are you guys, definitely talk about the battery stuff, and also dash charge, fast charge, USB-C, any kind of technology like that in the near future iterations for the headset?
That's we love Type-C. It just we believe it's not the mainframe yet. That's why for charging for Vinci 1.5, we still use the standard micro USB and for the standard version, but we also offer the wireless charging for the Pro version, and we believe wireless is really the future. That's why for the Pro we are adding. So on the Pro we are using the wireless charging. Standard battery life is about 10 hours of playback for regular use, but if you play the music continuously with the screen on and you really exploit to the max like power consumption, it lasts about 7 hours with a non-stop music playback. But regular usage, we expect like 10 hours music playback for no problem. And for standby, you can standby up to like 3 weeks.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yep. And so regarding the charging method, definitely we looked at Type-C. That's why we mentioned I think for next generation, I think Type-C will be probably accepted more by the mainstream. Yeah, but we really believe the wireless is the future.
Awesome. All right. So as far as the Kickstarter, I know you guys did very well on the Kickstarter, so definitely congratulations on that. So
Thank you.
touch on the Kickstarter and any promotions, any deals coming up, especially with Thanksgiving and Black Friday and things like that going on.
Yeah, absolutely. So on Kickstarter, we basically offer 50% discount for the super early birds deal. And as you can see that our pro version, super early birds deal already gone away very quickly. And for Black Friday, so we're actually introducing this is a time limited deal for the pro version. And so we are reinstate the $149, which is 50% discount for the pro version. So this is a limited time deal, and you should get it like right away.
That's pretty cool. So Max, definitely thank you so much for taking the time to speak to me about your Vinci Smart headphone. It is absolutely amazing. I got a chance to play with it. I really loved it. So definitely thank you for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, Andrew, for having me. Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of The Show Radio, episode 325. The show is on iTunes, Android, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and Google Play. Also, YouTube now. Definitely check it out on YouTube. Subscribe with your favorite podcatcher at theshowradio.info/listen. Once again, that's theshowradio.info/listen. Music credits goes to Cosmic Cosmo. I'm going to have a link for that in the show notes. Dope track. Definitely shout outs to them for allowing me to check that out and really enjoy it on the show. And I hope you guys have a fantastic Thanksgiving or, incredible time with your families during this week. And I'll talk to you next time. Peace.
I miss you.
You're listening to The Show Radio. Visit our blog at theshowradio.info. Subscribe and rate us on iTunes at theshowradio.info/iTunes. Theshowradio.info/iTunes.